Okay, today we're going to do the story of the three little pigs. Okay, the three little pigs. So, once upon a time, there were three little pigs. And they lived at home with their mum. But they got too big to stay at home, so they decided they would go and they would make their own home. They built their own house. Okay, so the three little pigs, they go from their house and they say, "Bye, Mum, bye." And off they go to build their own homes. Okay. The first little pig, he builds his house with straws. Okay, he builds a straw house. Then along comes a wolf, a bad wolf. Okay, and the little pig, he knocks on the door. The wolf, he knocks on the door and he says, little pig, let me in, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." The little pig is inside, he says, "No, not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
Not by the
Hairs on my chinny chin chin." Good. So the wolf, he huffs
and he
puffs and he blows the house down. So then he eats the pig. Pig is dinner. And the pig. So now the second little pig, he builds his house with wood. With wood. Okay. Then along comes the bad wolf and he knocks on the door and he says, little pig, let me in, or I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down." And the little pig says, "Not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin."
Not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
Yeah. So the wolf, he huffs
And he
puffs and he blows the house down. Okay, so then second little pig, not very good. Second little pig becomes dinner for the wolf. Okay, so now the third little pig. Yeah, pig number 3.
Like a shite.
He builds his house with bricks. Okay, he builds a brick house. Then along comes the wolf. And the wolf says, well, he knocks on the door, and he says, little pig, let me in, or I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down. The little pig says, not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
Not by the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
Good. So the wolf, he huffs. And he puffs. The house is still there. So he tries again. He huffs. And he puffs. One more time, big one. The house is still there.
It said something.
Yeah, it's still there. So the wolf thinks, what can I do? I know, I have an idea. I'll climb on the roof and I'll go down the chimney. Climb down the chimney, yeah, like Father Christmas. Yeah, he goes down the chimney to get the little pig. But the little pig, he's clever. Yeah, he's very clever, and he thinks, aha, I know. I'll make a big fire. Yeah, a big fire under the chimney. And on the fire, I put a big pot. A big pot. Like with a soup, make a big soup. Okay, so the fox, he climbs up the house onto the roof and he goes to the chimney. Okay, he starts to climb down, but he slips and splash. The wolf ends up in the pot, in the big pot of soup.
Wolf.
So, this little pig, he survives. Okay, and that's the end of the wolf. The end of the wolf.
Und die Schweine.
This pig, he's okay, yeah. He lives on. Okay, so that's the end.